Okay. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. So my name is Muhammad Faisal. I'm the chief examiner at Nafi. This exam is for Muhammad Awab Ur Rehman, right?
Yes,
Opening your presentation. So this is RQF level 4, developing a secure cloud workflow using platform engineering and DevSecOps. Very excellent topic because I designed the topic myself, so I know. Um, it's a very relevant topic. Our goal is that every student of ours is ready for the job market, right? Our
yes,
goal is not to just give you hand over the a piece of paper. It is getting tougher now because we are adding new labs. Al Razak program will become part of the examination process from January of
okay,
2025. So everyone needs to do the assignments anyway. The assignments will become the labs that you have to complete and submit. And they are going to be aligned as per the teaching objectives that we are doing, right? So that's a new changes coming up. However, you are in the old stream, so hopefully that is not applicable to you for now. On some of the students, we do decide that if you see like, this student should do that, we do advocate that policy. But everything is documented and is communicated and given ample, I would say, notice for the students to be prepared, right? For the upcoming changes. Uh, I'm a bit under the weather, so you will
okay,
hear me sneezing, you will hear me sniffling, right?
yes,
Because not feeling well, but inshallah, the exam needs to be conducted. You will have 20 minutes to 15 to 20 minutes for presenting your topic, and then
okay,
followed by a Q&A session, interview Q&A session, right? The
yes,
policies are the same. If anything happens, and if or whatever the case is, we will resume the session from there onwards, right? I hope that you
okay,
have your stable internet connection and there is no other issue because the exam is very important. Uh, if any point in time, if you cannot understand the question that I'm asking you, you can always
yes,
ask me, can you please repeat that again?
okay.
We will do so, okay? All right. So Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. You have done your O levels, right?
Yes, I've done my roles.
O levels, 5 exams, right?
No, eight actually.
8. So you went for
Yes,
Urdu, Islamiyat and Pak studies as well.
yes.
There was no need to do that.
Yeah, I just had to do them because they said if you want to study in Pakistan, you have to do them
Yeah, I
compulsory.
mean,
That's why.
internationally, 5 are minimum
Yes,
O level. In Pakistan, they make you study Urdu, Islamiyat, and Pak studies just because of the IBCC equivalencies
yes,
that they give you, right? But it's not
yes.
required. I mean, the education is changing and it's morphing, so you don't have to worry about that. But anyway, all right, Bismillah. So let's start. I'm going to put the timer on and let's proceed with it. Bismillah. So you can share your screen and you can start now.
Okay. So, uh, is my screen visible?
It's loading on my side. Yes, it is. Can you expand
Okay,
that,
so,
like make it into a presenter mode or something?
okay, yes. Is it, you can see it?
Yes, I can see it clearly.
Okay, so
Bismillah.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My name is Muhammad Awab Ur Rehman, and the topic of my presentation today is developing a secure cloud workflow using platform engineering and DevSecOps. So, platform engineering basically lets you gives you an internal platform, so you can which automatically gives you an internal platform on which helps developers efficiently develop and deploy their applications. And whereas the DevSecOps is integrating security early in the development processes using vulnerability scanning and code scanning, so ensuring that all deployments are secure. So what is platform engineering? Platform engineering is the process of building and maintaining internal platforms that help developers efficiently develop, deploy, and manage their applications using tools like Terraform, Kubernetes, and Helm. So the main point here is that platform engineering is providing us with internal platforms, which are also referred as the developer platforms or self-service platforms. So these mainly it focuses on the developer productivity and efficiency. So it also reduces the friction in the software development life cycle. So what is multi-cloud? Multi-cloud refers to the use of multiple cloud computing services from different cloud providers within a single architecture. So what it means is that multi-cloud is a complete approach in which we combine the all of these cloud providers like AWS, GCP, or IBM Cloud and use their multiple computing services within a single architecture. So unlike the hybrid cloud, which combines a private and a public cloud, so multi-cloud is combining public clouds. So then we have what are the some of the security challenges we might face in multi-cloud environments. So first of all, complexity in managing multiple cloud providers. So as each of the cloud provider has unique interfaces, configurations, and settings, so it can be complex to monitor or see manage those multiple cloud providers and lack of visibility and control. So as the data and applications are spread across the multi-cloud, it can be hard to maintain a full visibility onto what's happening in each environment. So this lack of control makes it harder to monitor and audit our cloud workloads efficiently. And with this complexity and lack of visibility, along with misconfigurations and inconsistent security practices, the risk of security breaches increases, which means attackers can easily exploit the weaknesses or gaps that may arise from the diverse environment. So let's look at solutions for this. We can use infrastructure as code, IAC, with Terraform. So IAC Terraform basically standardizes the resource definitions, making it easily deployable and manage secure the infrastructure management. So it also reduces the risk of configuration drifting away and managing. It also allows to manage it efficiently, our cloud workflows. Automated security checks with Snyk and Falco. So Snyk is basically continuously it is fixes the vulnerabilities, and first of all it identifies the vulnerabilities in our processes and then it fixes them. And Falco is basically monitoring the runtime activities, and if it finds any detects any suspicious activities, so it detects alerts on it. Then we will see how we can use open policy agent for policy enforcement, like compliance and security policy enforcement. So Terraform with IAC. So Terraform allows you to manage infrastructure as code across the multiple cloud platforms like AWS, GCP, and IBM. So because of its simple declarative language, the infrastructure setup becomes easier, and features like state management and reusable modules improve the efficiency as well. And when integrated with the CI/CD tools, pipeline, sorry, helping automate and streamline infrastructure deployment and management becomes easier. So streamlining IAC with continuous integration and delivery. Continuous integration and continuous delivery pipelines automate infrastructure deployment, ensuring consistency and reliability. By integrating Terraform with CI/CD tools, organization can automate infrastructure provisioning. So Terraform basically lets you define IAC, which means you can define your infrastructure you want. And when integrated with the CI/CD tools, organization can automate the infrastructure provisioning, which includes the databases, networks, and then when every time new code is pushed, the CI/CD pipelines trigger Terraform to automatically create, update, or delete infrastructure resources based on code changes, reducing the need of manual intervention. Enforce infrastructure configuration standards. So Terraform modules and configuration can be standardized, ensuring consistency across the cloud platforms. So when integrated with the CI/CD tools, organization can enforce these standards across every deployment, preventing configurations drifting away or being changed in unsafe ways. So reduce deployment errors. So with automated infrastructure provisioning and enforcing these standards, with the help of Terraform, we can help reduce human error as well, because the manual configuration often involve misconfigurations and overlook steps. So when integrated with the CI/CD pipeline, this whole process becomes repeatable, predictable, and also automated. So it provides a stable environment and they become less prone to errors. Improve collaboration between dev and ops teams. So Terraform bridges the gap between the dev and ops teams by collaborating both of them onto the IAC, which means that developer teams define the infrastructure they want, and the operation teams then reviews it and complies them according to the organizational standards. So what CI/CD does is it streamlines all the process and then make the infrastructure changes part of the same workloads as the code changes, fostering a better collaboration between teams. Next one minute, please. What is DevSecOps? So DevSecOps is an extension of the DevOps methodology that integrates security practices into the DevOps process. It emphasizes the importance of incorporating security at every stage of the software development lifecycle rather than treating it as a separate or final step. So DevSecOps is basically integrating security at early stages of the development, so we can early catch our vulnerabilities or any potential risks before they become part of the production, so that they turn into a major risk. So this is the diagram of the software development life cycle, in which we can see the development processes and the operation processes, and then we can see security being added into it. So implementing DevSecOps with Snyk and Falco. So Snyk is a developer-first security platform that helps organizations identify and fix vulnerabilities in their open source libraries or dependencies, and it focuses on integrating security into the development process, enabling developers to proactively manage security risks throughout the software development lifecycle. So Snyk basically identifies the vulnerabilities in our applications or open source dependencies and then provide us with guided automated fixes. And it integrates well with the development tools like GitHub, GitLab, and Jenkins. So what are the benefits of using Snyk? So by integrating security early in the development process, Snyk helps team quickly and efficiently fix their vulnerabilities, allowing faster remediation, and then the continuously monitoring and proactively identification of vulnerabilities helps organization maintain a strong security posture. So also Snyk fosters the collaboration between the development and the security teams by aligning their goals and enhancing communication between them, and ensuring the security is a shared responsibility. Falco. So Falco is an open source runtime security project designed to monitor and detect anomalous activity uh, anomalous activity in applications and container environment, helping organizations secure their cloud native environments. So Falco is basically providing us with real-time threats, threat detection, and alerting on suspicious activity as it happens or occurs. So what are the benefits? So Falco detects and alerts on suspicious activity as it occurs, enabling rapid response to potential threats and increased visibility. So Falco provides deep insights into the behavior of containers and applications, helping identify security issues early before they become part of the production stage or the development stage. They turn out to be a major risk for the organization. Compliance and auditing. So Falco helps organizations meet compliance requirements by continuously monitoring their activities and maintaining detailed audit trials. Ease of use, so simple setup and configuration make it accessible for teams to implement in their environments. So Open Policy Agent. So Open Policy Agent is an open source policy engine that lets you define your own policies as code and then enforce those policies across various systems such as Kubernetes APIs and microservices. So, so this open policy agent uses Rego language to write policies as code, which makes them easily accessible, auditable, and version control as well. Security policy enforcement. So how can we use OPA to enforce our security policies? We can use access controls, which means we can make sure only authorized users or services can access the sensitive cloud resources. For example, we can restrict access to certain AWS or GCP services based on user roles. Then we can also so API security with OPA means having a guard for API. So this guard basically checks the API requests going in and the responses going out. So ensuring that only secure and validated interactions occur between services. For example, verifying that only approved IP addresses or clients can request to uh, network security. So network security policies act like barriers. So they decide which part of the network can communicate with each other, and they also ensure that cloud environments communicate easily with each other and safely. So, for example, enforcing security groups in AWS to control inbound and outbound traffic between services. So, how does OPA enforces compliance policies? So, regulatory compliance, OPA can enforce policies that ensure cloud resources comply with the industry regulations like GDPR, HIPAA, or PCI DSS, ensuring that for example, ensuring that cloud storage buckets, example, AWS S3, GCP storage, are encrypted and access is restricted to only compliant regions. Configuration compliance, so policies ensure that all cloud resources follow approved configurations. For example, verifying that all instances deployed in AWS or GCP have security patches applied use a specific instance type or are tagged for audit purposes. Audit and monitoring, so OPEC can enforce continuous compliance by checking cloud configuration in real time and flagging any non-compliant resources. For example, automatically auditing Kubernetes cluster to ensure only signed container images are deployed. Then we have policy as code with OPA. As I mentioned earlier, we use Rego language to write policies as code, which makes them easily auditable, and version control as they are written as code, so they are adaptable to change as well because we can change them anytime, and this provides a clear, readable way to enforce security and compliance rules. So that's the end of my presentation.
So you still have 5 minutes left. Okay. Presentation is easier because the topic that you can stop the screen. The topic is, I mean, your scope is pretty limited because of the level 4, right? So I can't go deeper in terms of asking all the tougher questions or advanced level things. But still, there's a lot of things that I've covered. I've reviewed your presentation. There's a lot of things that I'm going to cover here, which are going to be from easy to intermediate to advanced to, expert level, right? So just want to make sure
Yes.
like you prepared for that. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So give me 1 minute. Okay. So the Q&A, right?
Yes.
Let's start with that. So explain the concept of platform engineering and how it helps developers manage applications.
Okay, so platform engineering basically is providing us with internal platform, which are self-service platforms, which automates the tasks for the developers so they can easily deploy their applications. So like often we have issues like developers team says it works on my machine. So platform engineering solve this problem as well. And then we have problem because the development teams relies on the operational team. So platform engineering provides with tools so they don't have to rely on them and they are independent. So that's how platform engineering helps developers.
So platform engineering is the process of creating and maintaining, it's mentioned in your application, in your
Yes,
presentation, maintaining internal app platforms that streamline and standardizes the process of development workflows, enabling developers to efficiently deploy, develop, create, manage applications. I mean,
yes,
it can be done by Terraform, Kubernetes, Helm, many other tools, right? It makes the process repeatable, traceable, scalable, consistent,
yes.
reliable across the whole organization. This is how you have to respond me back.
Okay,
Okay. So it has to be a better answer, because imagine that you're going through an interview right now, right?
okay.
So this is the part of the interview because we are enabling you for the job description, right? We taught you the
Yes,
job description, you went through it, now you're going for the real interview. So this is your real interview for a job. Imagine that. So when you step in, you have to come with that kind of knowledge, right?
okay,
So I'm going to keep on mixing the questions, right?
okay,
So how would you use Terraform with the CI/CD to automate infrastructure provisioning?
okay. So we will use IAC with Terraform. So we can define our infrastructure we want. And with the help of the CI/CD pipelines, we can make the process automated because every time a new code will be pushed, so the Terraform will be triggered by the CI/CD pipelines to automatically create or update the or even delete infrastructure resources based on code changes.
So Terraform can be integrated into the CI/CD pipeline, looking at the presentation that you have, to
Yes,
automate the provisioning and updating of the infrastructure, right? The
yes,
setup involves defining infrastructure as a code, IAC, in Terraform files, committing changes to a version, control system, example like Git, whatever,
yes.
and using CI/CD tools to apply the code changes automatically, right? This enables automated infrastructure provisioning, ensuring consistency, reducing manual intervention, and enforcing configuration standards built in within the infrastructure that you have, right?
Okay.
Answers are subpar right now. What is happening? Okay, let's jump on to like a tougher question because I'm going to keep on juggling, right? So describe
Okay.
how would you set up a CI/CD pipeline to deploy Terraform configurations across multiple clouds, ensuring security and compliance? It's a very big question. Every employer will ask you that. It's already
Can you
something
please repeat?
mentioned in your presentation as well.
Can you repeat it?
So describe how would you set up a CI/CD pipeline to deploy Terraform configurations across multiple clouds, AWS, GCP, Azure, whatever,
Yes.
right? Ensuring security and compliance.
Okay, so we can integrate Terraform with OPA to for our security. We can use the policies to enforce OPA to enforce policies into the Terraform into the CI/CD pipelines, and we can integrate both of the Terraform and the CI/CD pipelines to automate and streamline the processes. And then we can use automated checks like Snyk and Falco to for real-time monitoring and threat detection for our security purposes. And we can use both of them for um,
Okay. I mean, to set up a secure CI/CD pipeline for Terraform across multiple, clouds, you would configure pipeline stages for linting Terraform code, scanning for security misconfigurations, example, using tools like Flint, right? Or TF lint or
yes,
whatever, and validating the compliance with organizational policies like the OPA, via the OPA.
yes.
The pipeline would have separate environments for staging and separate environments for production, and it would require approval before production deployments through the change management process. These automated tests would ensure compliance, while role-based access control would protect sensitive configurations. That is how you have to provide me the answer. Okay.
Okay.
You got the score. There is some score, half a point, because you missed some of the things, right?
Okay.
So you have to be very careful in answering these questions. Okay,
Okay.
so this is going to be slightly tougher. In a large multi-cloud architecture, right? It's a large multi-cloud architecture.
Okay.
You are using AWS and Azure. How would you design a secure deployment pipeline using Terraform, OPN, CI/CD, accounting for cross-cloud configuration and potential vulnerabilities? Again, this is, AWS may have different settings, GCP may have
Yes.
settings, you know.
Okay. So,
How would you do
because
that?
of the OPA, we can use OPA, and it's very scalable and flexible, so we can easily compare to the other policy enforcement
So
engines.
start the answer like this. I did like to design a pipeline with
Okay.
stages for IAC validation, infrastructure as a code validation, using Terraform, policy enforcement with OPA, and security checks. Now continue.
Um, how?
Okay, gather your thoughts. Gather your thoughts.
Okay.
How would you
So,
do? How would you do that?
first of all, I will use CI/CD pipelines with Terraform to for my developer pipeline or infrastructure, and then I will use OPA because it is more scalable and flexible within the different cloud providers compared to the other uh, softwares. So I can easily enforce security policies in it, and with the help of the IAC, I can standardize with the help of integrating Terraform with IAC. I can standardize the resource definitions, so making them easily deployable, and I can also streamline the whole process. And by using Terraform, the process will become automated, which means that it's less prone to errors as well, because there will be less chances of human error. And I will automate the infrastructure provisioning as well. So also I can enforce the configuration standards of the Terraform modules, and I can use Snake and Falco for real-time threat detection. So whenever I will integrate security in the early development stages, so I catch up the problems or potential risks earlier before uh,
The production.
they become part of the production.
Okay, it's a good answer. Again, you have to do
Okay.
better. It's a crude answer, right? Yes, you are 16 years of age. I understand, right? But
Yes.
that doesn't mean that you cannot talk like top of the line developers, right? Our 16 years guys are working at higher positions, right? So you have to
Yes.
elevate yourself. You can do a lot, mashallah. You have the right thoughts, but like you would have said, I did like to design a pipeline with stages for ISE validation using Terraform, policy enforcement with OPA, security checks using TF-Lint or whatever, right? And Snake. And each cloud provider would have their own specific environment configuration managed by Terraform modules.
Yes.
The OPA policies would validate compliance across clouds because most of the cloud requirements are going to be compliance requirements will be the same, right? And automated
Yes.
testing and monitoring would verify infrastructure integrity, and manual approvals would secure critical deployments before I push it into production, right? That is
Yes.
how you have to respond back. This is extremely
Okay.
important. Okay. Okay, let me see. Uh, we're going to jump into easier questions now. It's going to be easier, intermediate, expert, super advanced, and
Okay.
all. right? So that's how I go in, because I have to keep on continuously teasing your brain.
Okay.
All right, so uh, let's jump on to some of the questions. What is multi-cloud and why might an organization choose a multi-cloud strategy? Why would they do that?
Okay, so multi-cloud basically refers to the use of multiple cloud computing services from different cloud providers like AWS, GCP, or IBM Cloud. So why might organization choose them instead of using a single cloud? So it has many benefits. It avoids vendor lock-ins as we are using the multi-cloud. So if any of the cloud provider have any outages, so we can
You already scored the point by using one word,
yes,
vendor lock-in.
yes,
Avoid vendor lock-in, being able to minimize the
and
cost.
it is
I already
also
give you the
cost.
full point.
Okay,
One, right? I already give you, because each question is 1 to 2 points. Some of the questions are one, some of the questions two.
okay,
I
okay,
already give, so try to give precise answers to
okay.
avoid multi-lock, vendor lock-in.
Yes,
We don't want to rely on AWS or Azure or stuff like that. No, we
yes,
want to make sure like our risk is mitigated and spread around.
yes,
We concentrate on our efforts on one. Like if you have all the eggs in one basket, that's wrong approach, right?
yes,
Okay. So let's jump on. That was an easier one, right? Well,
yes.
but technical. Explain how Snake help manage vulnerabilities in applications and open source dependencies.
Okay, so Snake is basically developer first security platform. So we use Snake to identify the vulnerabilities in our open source dependencies and our libraries. So it is used with Falco, which provides the deep insights into it, and it's basically the vigilance. It is providing us vigilance, and Snake then guide us with the automated fixes. And as it integrates well with development tools like GitHub, GitLab, and Jenkins, so it is easier for Snake to fix those vulnerabilities quicker.
Okay. Could have been like a higher answer, but I will take that one, because I
Okay.
asked you about various deployment tools like open source applications and dependencies, right? So how would you do that? It's basically embedding in the SDLC lifecycle, right? The software development lifecycle.
Yes.
That's what you have to, and then build upon your question on that, answer on that. Okay. Describe a scenario where you would use Falco to detect anomalies in a containerized environment. How would you do that?
Can you repeat?
So describe a scenario where you would use Falco to detect anomalies in a containerized environment. It's like in a Kubernetes environment. How would you use Falco to detect anomalies in a Kubernetes environment?
Okay, so if I'm in a Kubernetes environment, I'm creating clusters and managing them, and I will use Falco with it. So if anyone other than me tries to uh, gain unauthorized access to my containers, so Falco then has to provide me insights on it, and it has to detect if anything is unusual is happening in there. So it is gonna detect it and alert to me, and then I can mitigate the risk and do all what are
So,
necessary safeguards.
unauthorized anomaly can be anything. For example, unauthorized access,
Yes.
unauthorized processing,
Misconfigurations as well.
yes, unauthorized abnormal network connections.
Yes.
Any of these things can raise a flag, right? And
Yes.
that alerting mechanism will then give you a flag to go in and investigate what is happening. Okay. All right. We'll take you that. We'll take that one. Um, let's go for an easier one.
Okay.
What is DevSecOps and why is it important to integrate security within the SDLC? Easier one.
Okay. So DevSecOps is basically extension of the DevOps. So it mainly focuses on integrating security into the earliest stages of the development,
Mhm.
like the software development life cycle. So it is very crucial because if we integrate security early in the development processes, we can catch the vulnerabilities or potential risks earlier, and then we can mitigate the risks or we can deal with them before they turn out to be a big problem for an organization or a major threat. So basically, it provides us with a strong security posture and a faster remediation.
Good. How does Terraform help in infrastructure as a code?
Okay, so Terraform allows you to define your IAC, infrastructure as code, using its modules and configurations, and it integrates with the IAC to standardize the configurations as well.
Well, the answer is Terraform is an AI IAC tool. Infrastructure as a code tool that enables the management of infrastructure across multiple cloud platforms using declarative code, right?
Yes.
It helps by simplifying infrastructure provisioning, supporting state management, and enabling the use of reusable modules, making it
Excuse me, sir.
fun and management very
Um,
efficient and
can
effective.
you give me a minute? I may bring my charger because my laptop is about to die.
Yeah, please go ahead. You have to be prepared with the next time I will put that. Go,
Yeah,
please.
sorry.
So make sure, Yusuf, like next time when these guys are up, send them a checklist of making sure like they do all of these things in advance before they step into the examination room, right? Please do so.
Yes, sorry.
That's okay. Okay, so let's continue. Uh,
Yes.
so how can Open Policy Agent, OPA, enforce network policies in a multi-cloud setup?
Okay, so using OPA, we can enforce network policies, which are basically security policies. So we can make sure that it is basically kind of a barrier. So it's going to tell us which part of the network can communicate with each other. And if we look onto the cloud environment, so it is responsible for the communication that occurs between the cloud environments. So they
I
should
don't know.
be,
Question is, how can Open OPA, Open Policy Agent,
yes.
enforce network security policies in a multi-cloud setup? I'm asking in the context of uh, network security policy.
Okay, so network security policies, OPA lets you define the network policies. So so it allows
So
you to,
what's in the network policy? What do we look into network policy? When we have to design a policy, what do we look
yes,
into? What are the key aspects?
the part of the networks, so IP addresses and all of that
Yes.
information.
For instance, OPA can ensure that only approved IP ranges can
Yes,
access specific services or block certain network routes to prevent unauthorized access. Right?
yes.
That's what we have to do.
Okay.
Okay, what benefits do DevSecOps tools like Snake and Falco bring to a CI/CD pipeline? Did we cover that? I think I already covered that question. Okay.
Yes, all.
Okay, hold on. So in your presentation, if I look at the slide, right? solutions. OPA, automated security, Terraform. Okay. So let's jump into some of the. So how would you leverage OPA Rego language to write a policy that restricts API access to certain IP addresses? You know, OPA has a Rego language, right?
Yes.
So how would
So,
you use that?
okay, I will use the Rigo language to write my policies as code. And then with the help of OPA, I can easily define my policies, and then I can manage those.
Um, It's this question is kind of what I already answered the previous one, right? Which is
Okay.
how would you leverage OPA Rego language to write a policy that restricts API access to certain IP addresses? I'm talking in the context of network security.
Okay. So, using the Rigo language, I will define the policy such as that it covers the IP addresses network policies. So it checks the API requests going in and the responses going out. So if anything
So it would
unusual
be,
is,
so you can say APA, like OPA Rego language, using the
yes,
OPA Rego language, I would create a policy that checks the source IP address, right?
yes, and the
Incoming request and permit access only if the IP is
authorized,
in an approved
preventing
list.
unauthorized. Yes.
Okay. Uh, Explain a scenario where using both Snake and Falco could enhance security posture in a cloud native application.
So if I'm working in a cloud native application, and if I had to use Snyk and Falco, both of them integrated, or so it will provide me with many benefits, as Falco provides us with real-time threat detection and basically detects on the runtime applications or runtime activities. So if it detects anything unusual, it will detect on it and then alert for it. And using Snyk, I will use Snyk to for automated guided fixes, and I can also use Snyk to identify them, and then I can easily catch where the problem is, and then I can resolve it.
Okay. Not the best answer, but it's okay. It's an okay answer,
Okay.
Because you could have said in a cloud native application, Snake can be used to scan applications, codes, and dependencies. Already I asked you about that. During development, catching vulnerabilities early head on, something you mentioned.
Yes.
But then after deployment, Falco can monitor. So Snake does the primary work. Then after deployment, Falco can monitor the applications at runtime, detecting anomalies such as unusual file access or network connections, for instance.
Yes.
And if a vulnerability slips through the pipeline, Falco could still detect exploitation attempts, providing layered security. It's like a layered security approach, right? So
Yes.
not one tool can prevent you from everything, right? You have to deploy a
Yes.
multiple layered strategy. Okay. Uh, what strategies would you implement to ensure compliance with regulations like GDPR and ISO 27001, PCI DSS, using OPA in a multi-cloud environment?
Um,
Because some of the
like,
systems are in Europe, so that's where GDPR is applicable, right? Some of the systems are like have credit card data, PCI DSS is applicable,
yes.
right? Some of the systems have compliance requirements by the clients for SAS 70 or ISO 27000 or whatever, right? So how would you do that?
Okay, so in this scenario, I will use OPA to for regulatory compliance, and if I had any data which is related to the payment card industry, which is credit card information, we can OPA will validate it whether it complies with the HIPAA or PCI DSS or not, and like that for all of these GDPR, HIPAA. So OPA will validate them continuously, the configurations and the uh, them, so make sure that they comply with them.
Well, using OPA, you would say, I would implement policies that enforce data encryption, right?
Yes,
Restrict access to compliant regions, log access to sensitive resources, right? Use
yes,
requirement 10 of the PCI DSS to move all the logs in a scene, security information event monitoring. And for
yes,
example, a policy could verify that all the storage buckets are encrypted and restrict resources to specific geographic locations. Continuous auditing policies would flag non-compliant behavior, configurations, ensuring
yes,
real-time adherence to GDPR, PCI DSS requirements, or ISO 27001 or whatever, right? That is how
yes.
you have to answer.
Okay,
Muhammad Awab Ur Rehman, you have to do better.
okay.
Okay? You came a little bit unprepared, little bit, right? To be better. But you can do it, inshallah, you can do it. Okay, because again, this is level 4, right?
Yes,
Uh, and it all depends on the topic and the breadth and whatnot, right? Level 4 diploma is very restricted because it has certain, it only has 120 credits, right?
okay.
So that's why we can't jump in, but then we jump in deeper into the topic, right?
Yes.
Why you are here sitting with me right now. Okay, so tell me, how can a policy as a code with OPA and IAC infrastructure as a code with Terraform work together to secure a compliant, secure and compliant cloud infrastructure?
Okay, so using the
How
regular
would you
language.
use OPA and IAC together to create a secure cloud infrastructure?
Okay, okay. So using the regular language of OPA, we can define our own policies written as code.
Yes.
So as infrastructure as code means we can define our infrastructure as code. So we can use the policies in our infrastructure written as code, which makes them version controlled as well and adaptable to changes. If we want to make any change in it, so we simply have to change the code and we can do it. And for the compliance, the OPA will again just validate the configurations if they comply with organizational standards or not.
Okay. That's good. Okay, I will take that one. Let's jump on to a little bit different questions, right?
Okay.
We are in the last leg, so almost getting closer to finish line. So you have a global load balancing, right?
Okay.
Uh, how would you, what would you monitor in the global load balancer when, because it's a globally multi-cloud environment, right? The
Yes.
traffic is coming from different places, but the
Yes.
global load balancer decides, should I send traffic over here, over here, over here, what, right? What
Yes.
are the kind of matrices you would configure to monitor the global load balancer uh, context of where it should send this traffic to? Should send to AWS, GCP, IBM to in Europe? Like, how would it define that?
Okay. So we can use OPA for that, for the network policies and the API policies. So we can see the API requests coming in, and if anything unusual is there of
Asking
our
you about the, I'm asking you about the key matrices that you need to define in the OPA infrastructure and policy as a code. What are those key matrices?
um I have to check the API requests and the IP addresses of them.
So you have to check the region where this connection is coming from. You have to set
Okay.
up a health checker constructor, this region, right? You have to perform health checks. You have to perform nearest region requests. You have to perform the security contacts, right? So there's a multiple things you have to set up. Also,
Yes.
the await time, the process of where you decide the global load balancing in terms of seeing which region has the most load right now. So there's a lot of
Yes.
things that goes in before you decide how to write this, the script. So I'm going to jump into some of the scripting stuff, right, with you.
Okay.
So tell me, hold on. So what do you call a self-healing infrastructure system with automated security remediation? What do you call those things? What are those things?
Can you repeat?
What are known as the self-healing infrastructure?
Self-healing
Yes.
structure. Um,
You know what self-healings are?
no.
You know what infrastructure as a code and policy as a code is, right?
Yes.
So how would you design a self-healing infrastructure? Like if there's a context, if there's a attack happening on the infrastructure, what would trigger that, give it more resources, disable this or disable that? What would do that?
We can use Falco for that with OPA.
Yes, we can use Falco. We can use some of the other things, right?
Yes.
Make
So
sure,
if
like, yes, go ahead.
so we will use Falco to detect it. And if there is anything unusual, so Falco will alert on that, and we
So,
can then uh, solve those problems or the
okay,
risks.
let me check your presentation. So, for the self-healing, essentially, there are multiple things you do, right?
Yes.
You use Prometheus, Grafana, custom matrices, some of the many, many things that you use, open source, proprietary, whatever you want to use. Create automated system responses. If the container is breached, what happens? Automatic isolation. If the network is being attacked, dynamic firewall rules, traffic rerouting, right? Have a DNS vacuum. You know what a DNS vacuum is? It's essentially if someone is is doing a DDoS attack,
Yes.
how would you divert that thing, right? Have a web application firewall. If the resources are being exhausted, automatic scaling and load balancing. That is self-healing, essentially. Right? There
Okay.
are many other things as well. You can provide me a shorter answer, you can provide me a longer answer. I was just looking for a shorter answer. Okay.
Okay.
So tell me platform engineering solution for microservices. What are the most important elements for microservices
Uh,
in a platform engineering?
Microservices. Okay, so platform engineering is providing with internal platforms. So in the microservices, we can use the platform to uh, which allows developers to efficiently develop their code, and it is also providing with tools. So uh,
So implement services, service mesh, like, for traffic management, centralized logging,
yes,
configuration, deploy automated CI/CD pipeline with security gates, like it's a gated architecture, build service discovery and register systems, implement circuit breakers and fault tolerances, for self-healing
yes,
stuff. I mean, these are all the platform engineering solutions for microservices because microservices relies on multiple things, right? The cluster, the infrastructure, many other things, right?
yes.
Okay. How do you achieve a zero downtime migration strategy? How would you do that? There are different phases to it, right? So how would you perform, how would you design a strategy where you have zero downtime?
Um,
What's the first thing you have to do? Infrastructure setup.
yes.
In the infrastructure setup, what do you do first?
I write use IAC for install infrastructure with the Terraform
Remember, the goal
as a
is
supplement.
remember the goal is zero downtime, right? So
Okay.
what you do is like you will set up replicate infrastructure in target environment, here, right? Set up
Yes.
monitoring and health checks, establish connectivity between the environments. Because you have the global load balancer, you can divert the traffic, drain out the traffic from here, from this network, and divert all
Yes.
the traffic over there, right? And once all the traffic is diverted, then you can take out that infrastructure.
Okay.
Then you do data migration, set up continuous data replication. From this infrastructure, this is the old one, this is the new one, the data is being migrated consistently. Verify data consistency, test backups and recovery procedures. Then it's traffic migration. As I said, gradually traffic is shifting and is being drained out from this environment over to this environment, right?
Yes.
Then monitor performance matrices, ready rollback, rollback procedures. Because if anything happens and things are not working, this environment should still be there so that you can roll it back, right? Because you don't know. I mean, you can do all things in your capacity to do, but still you may miss something, right? And if there is no rollback required, anything, traffic migration has gone smoothly. Cutover. How do you do the final cutover? How do you do the final cutover? I will give you bonus points for this. How do you do the
Okay.
final?
Um,
So there are four
it-
phases of doing this thing, right? You can come up
okay.
with any phases you like, but normally four to five phases, right? First is infrastructure setup for zero downtime migration strategy.
Yes.
Then migration, data migration, infrastructure, data migration, traffic migration, cutover. And then last time is cleanup, right? You have to do cleanup as well. So
Okay.
in the cutover, what do you decide? Okay, this is the cutover. I should cut it off now.
So we have to decide which of the services we should divert,
No,
where.
final data sync and DNS cutover, right? Remember,
So
the global load balancer decides, okay, traffic is all migrated over here, is going, cut this DNS, cut it off, right?
okay.
So you cut off that DNS and then everything goes over there. And then verify all systems are operational through scripts and whatnot. You want to run everything is run and everything is done, right?
Yes.
Uh, Let me tell you something. This is very important for you, right?
Okay.
We have we operate in 215 countries and territories.
Okay.
So then the traffic comes in, we decide what we do with this traffic, right? Now our infrastructure is on AWS and Azure, right? So
Yes.
it's a multi-pronged strategy. It's expensive, it's complicated, and this is what we do. And we use everything is open source, 99%,
Okay.
right? So this is what we do. That's exactly what you'll be requested to do and talk about when you are going there, right? Sitting in front of the client.
Yes.
Okay, let me see if I have any further questions I can squeeze out of you. Global load balancing solution, I already covered that, late limiting, stuff like that. Okay, last one. Enterprise policy, right? Policy enforcement.
Yes.
How do you implement enterprise policy enforcement where the same policy is implemented across all systems? How would you do that?
Okay. So I will use OPA for it, and I can use the Terraform state management with it. So uh, I can write policies as code and then
Okay.
I can take that file and use the configuration in each of the cloud provider, so it will be applied to all of them.
Okay. Anything else? Is there anything else? Role-based
No?
access control, resource usage limits, security requirements, compliance rules, API gateways, service mesh, network policies, logging policies, user behavior analytics, ton of things, right? Vulnerability scanning, pen testing, so many things. Okay, do you want to know your score?
Yes.
You scored 71%. You passed the exam, right? In the
Yes.
presentation, there was a lot of things which are missing, right? You could have
Okay.
mentioned many, many things. But it was clean, nice, and tidy presentation. So I gave you 20 for that, right?
Okay.
The Q&A session was a tough one, right? And you scored out of 25, 15 and a half.
Okay.
So you lost many points because of, the topic was different, but you could have mentioned many, many things in there, right? But that was not the case. But
Yes.
anyway, the point is you did pass 35 and a half, right?
Okay.
Moving forward, uh, many people will be going through the labs. Al Razak labs will become mandatory, right? Wherever
Yes.
you perform. My suggestion to you would be, uh, go and study diploma in AI ops. While doing so, appear for the
Yes.
CCAT, right? CCAT exam is
I'm
easy.
planning to do the same.
Yes. Pass the CCAT exam and then,
Okay.
you know, then do the KCNA, KCSA, those are simple, right? And then after a few
Yes.
months of preparation, go for the CKA and then CKS. CKS is easy, CKA is a little bit tricky, but not that much. But again,
Okay.
that will make you, hopefully the second QB astronaut, like in Pakistan, I would say, or there are only few.
Okay.
But like the AI ops will give you, the Al Razak labs will give you the hands-on experience you need to make sure that you go through all of these things in a much more detailed manner. There's a lot of things. I could have gone down in the alley of asking you how to write down the script. Show me the script. But that is coming.
Yes.
The exams are going to
Okay.
get tougher, right? Um, I'm happy you passed the exam. I'm really happy that you are 16 years of age and you have completed five, exams from O level, which are required, and you scored three.
Yes.
MashaAllah, that's great. You have a great potential, Muhammad Awab Ur Rehman. You took it
Thank
very,
you.
in a very good fashion. The interview was tough, I have to admit. Was it tough?
Yes.
Were we expecting that?
Questions. Not that much.
Students have started using AI to get up their answers. So I have to I have to take off my easy, this is my hat, right? That I wear for my salah and everything. When I take it
Yes.
off, then I mean business, right? Then it becomes tougher. Then I use
Yes.
my knowledge and my experience of running things around that I'm doing right now as a CEO, as a CIO, as a CTO. I've worked
Yes.
in all of these areas, right? And as an
Yes.
architect, worked in all of these technologies. There
Okay.
are new tools now, but it's the same thing, and nothing changes, right? I'm
Yes.
a very open source guy, so then I pull out all those things, from the students. It's like using a iron comb on your flesh. I can go even deeper than that if I have to with the student. But that is
Okay.
not level 4. That's at level 6. At level 7, the master's program is going to be much tougher, right? When we
Yes.
when we start offering that as a master's program in our university, it's going to be tougher because it comes with 100% job placement. This is what Al Razak does. It prepares you for the market. So when you go there, you secure the job. The only thing we do is when you complete Al Razak program, we pick up the phone and say, okay, I'm sending Muhammad Awab Ur Rehman. This is the job you sent to us. Please interview them, right?
Yes.
So if you pass our interview, you can pass any interview, right? Then you only negotiate, okay, this is how much I need, this is what you guys are offering, etc., etc., right? I'm happy you
Yes.
passed the exam. Do you have any questions for me?
No, sir.
Are you happy with your results?
Yes.
Be happy, be content, work hard. You're a sharp kid.
Okay.
How good is your scripting? How good is your
It's
Selenium?
intermediate, not that good, but it's
Okay,
okay.
it's okay. I mean, when you
Yes.
say it's okay, have you played around with Snake and Falco and all these tools?
No.
Okay. Have you gone through the global internship program?
No.
Okay. So start doing the Al Razak labs. That's why I'm saying,
Okay.
you register for the exam. That's great. You completed all of those things. But I would say register for you can also go for the HND as well. You know, HND is another promising prospect for you. HNC, HND. I think
Okay.
you've already done level 4, so it's only level 5, HND. So you can go for HND and then AI ops together. At 16 years of age, by the time you reach 17, 18, you would be doing your master's program.
Inshallah.
You have a great potential, inshallah. So keep on doing the hard work, inshallah. May Allah make it easy for you. If you have any questions, we are always available to reach out.
Okay.
Again, I congratulate you for passing the exam. If you have any questions whatsoever, you can always reach out to us. The Academic
Okay.
Operations Center will compile your results, will get everything ready as per the remote quality sampling procedure for EduQual, right? Since
Yes.
we are now also uh, about to be accredited by Pearson, they have a similar process, and down the line by OffCall, right, that we are working for right now. So
Yes.
it's going to be the same process. They will contact you, and if they see anything that requires your attention, they will bring it to your attention. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you. Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.